The story of heavy metal is one of volume, rebellion, and transformation. Born in the ashes of 60s hard rock and fueled by darkness, distortion, and defiance, metal evolved rapidly in the 1970s and 1980s, becoming one of the most influential and diverse genres in music history. What began with lumbering riffs and ominous themes soon erupted into a high-octane universe of speed, virtuosity, theatricality, and global subcultures. This is the journey of heavy metal's rise through two of its most pivotal decades. The 1970s marked the birth of heavy metal as we know it. While acts like Cream, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, and Led Zeppelin flirted with volume and heaviness, it was Black Sabbath who truly defined the sound. Their self-titled debut in 1970 introduced eerie lyrics, thunderous guitars, and a sense of doom that diverged from blues-based rock. Tony Iommi's detuned guitar riffs and Ozzy Osbourne's haunting vocals set a new standard. Sabbath didn't just play heavy music, they created a genre that mirrored the industrial grit of their Birmingham roots. Following Sabbath, bands like Deep Purple and Uriah Heep expanded the genre's sonic palette with classical influences, organ solos, and operatic vocals. Meanwhile, Judas Priest refined metal's twin guitar assault and leather-clad image, releasing seminal albums like Sad Wings of Destiny and Hellbent for Leather. They stripped away the blues elements and sharpened the genre into something faster and more aggressive. By the end of the decade, metal was evolving, its fan base was growing, and its aesthetic was becoming more defined. The late 70s also saw the birth of the new wave of British heavy metal, NWOBHM, a movement that rejuvenated the genre with energy and speed. Bands like Iron Maiden, Saxon, and Diamond Head combined punk's DIY ethos with metal's power and complexity. Iron Maiden in particular became a juggernaut, thanks to galloping rhythms, literary themes, and Eddie, their iconic mascot. NWOBHM laid the groundwork for metal's next evolutionary leap and spread its influence far beyond the UK. As the 1980s dawned, metal diversified dramatically. On one end, glam metal exploded out of Los Angeles with bands like Mötley Crüe, Rat, and Poison. These bands fused metal riffs with pop hooks, outrageous fashion, and MTV-friendly videos. Their success brought metal into the mainstream, filling arenas and topping charts. Though often criticized for style over substance, glam metal undeniably widened the genre's reach. On the other end of the spectrum, thrash metal emerged as a reaction to glam's perceived excess. Bands like Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, and Anthrax injected punk aggression into metal's structure, playing faster, louder, and more technically than ever before. Metallica's Master of Puppets and Slayer's Rain in Blood set new benchmarks for intensity and complexity. Thrash metal wasn't about radio hits. It was about raw energy, political rage, and underground credibility. The 1980s also saw the rise of power metal, especially in Europe, where bands like Helloween, Blind Guardian, and Manowar embraced epic themes, soaring vocals, and fantasy imagery. Simultaneously, doom metal kept Sabbath's slow and heavy spirit alive through bands like Candlemass and St. Vitus. Black metal and death metal began to gestate in the underground, laying the groundwork for extreme metal's rise in the 1990s. Guitar heroes became central figures in metal's evolution. Eddie Van Halen's revolutionary tapping techniques in the late 70s and early 80s inspired a generation of shredders. Yngwie Malmsteen brought neoclassical flair to metal, turning guitar solos into virtuosic centerpieces. Technical skill became a badge of honor, elevating metal musicianship to a new level. Lyrically, metal matured. While early bands focused on fantasy, horror, and rebellion, the 80s brought more personal, political, and philosophical themes. Iron Maiden sang about history and mythology. Megadeth addressed war, government corruption, and nuclear threats. Metal became a platform for both escapism and activism, giving voice to the alienated and the outraged. The decade also marked metal's global spread. Metalheads formed scenes in Brazil, Japan, Germany, and Scandinavia, creating regional sounds and styles. Brazil birthed Sepultura. Germany gave rise to Creator and Accept. Sweden and Norway nurtured early black and death metal. Metal became not just a genre, but a worldwide movement, a shared identity expressed through patches, leather jackets, and raised horns. By the close of the 80s, heavy metal had fractured into dozens of subgenres and spawned countless scenes, but its core remained the same: defiance, intensity, and power. From Sabbath's doom-laden riffs to Slayer's breakneck assaults, the 70s and 80s shaped metal into an unstoppable cultural force. Heavy metal didn't just evolve, it transformed. It responded to the times, fed off rebellion, and exploded into an art form where aggression met expression. Whether in spiked leather or glam makeup, playing in stadiums or basements, the metal of the 70s and 80s forged a legacy that still rattles speakers and souls today.